Let's turn it over to our panel. First, Julia, you were there covering the Faith and Freedom Conference today. I actually spoke at it last year in Nashville. So tell me, what was it like for you?
So I think the key takeaways this time around was, I was here, it's happening today and tomorrow. I was there today with Governor DeSantis. He was clearly the highlight of the day. And
oh, really?
It was clear that, obviously it was a friendly crowd for him, but it was also a friendly crowd for former President Trump. In fact, the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina endorsed President Trump formally during this, the gathering. But with Ron DeSantis, I mean, look, he got a lot of standing ovation. He used the term woke more times than I could count in his speech, sort of definitely, I guess honing in on this issue of the culture wars and such. And that seemed to be the biggest highlight, unsurprisingly. Second biggest highlight is obviously Vice President Mike Pence calling on the other GOP candidates to commit to a 15-week national abortion ban. That's very important because even though someone like Ron DeSantis has enacted a 6-week ban in Florida into place, he hasn't committed yet to a federal ban. President Trump hasn't committed to a federal ban. So that was pretty noteworthy that the day before the one-year anniversary of Roe v. Wade being overturned, Mike Pence is putting the pressure on his Republican rivals.
Rinah, you have been to Faith and Freedom before as well. Someone who I also noticed today on the stage, Tim Scott, who, has a pretty religious, very outspoken about his religious background as well.
Right. I've attended many times, actually, staffing a member of Congress. I worked for 2 Republicans in the House over a decade ago, and I know how important this coalition is to particularly Republican members of the House. You've got to show your face. You've got to show support of this coalition. And now, of course, as we're gearing up for 2024, this is all eyes on the people there today. But what's most important, I think, to note is that I think for the first time we're seeing a non-Christian there. Vivek Ramaswamy is a Hindu, and he did attend a Catholic high school, I believe I read, like me. I'm also not Christian, but I am a person of faith, and I think it's really important to hear what these candidates have to say about that. I must say, on another hand, this is deeply uncomfortable for me in many ways. Though I am a person of faith, I've always believed in the separation of church and state, and I've never wanted anybody to legislate with their holy books, because how could you? If we are really believing in the Constitution, we should believe that there should be that clear demarcation. So there have been times where I've been in that room and felt, gee, that's a little uncomfortable, but I do like to hear what these people think. And I think Vivek Ramaswamy, I haven't heard what he said today, but it's an important moment in which the GOP could say, we're okay with that, because they're always, if you look at how the left talks about the right, we're always thought to be just Christians in the Republican Party. But I know that the Republican Party can be a big tent party and talk about values and for people of faith of other denominations as well.
Tia, when we were talking about abortion with Senator Graham, and he spoke on this yesterday, and Mike Pence, as you mentioned, they're really doubling down on it at the Faith and Freedom Coalition. But in the same vein, the Biden team wants to double down on it because they think it's good for him in his general election.
Right. And the point Rinah made about religion, there's even a bigger point just about this conference is a gathering of evangelicals, of kind of that far-right conservative base that's important to a primary, but a lot of their priorities are not necessarily winning messages in a general election, abortion being one of them. We know that Lindsey Graham just talked about a 15-week abortion ban, but he also supported 6-week abortion bans. There are essentially 0-week abortion bans in other conservative states. That's not popular with a lot of voters, even voters that may be inclined to support Republican candidates on other issues. And I think that's what is the kind of the contrast as we watch the Republican candidates at this conference. But we have to remember, they're going to have a message that speaks beyond the conservative Christian base if they want to become president.
Yeah, but it's still a confusing group to me as a Democrat. I mean, on one hand...
Well, you are a Democrat.
Well, I know, but my first wife was a Republican, so I know a lot about Republicanism. But what's confusing about it is that majority of them support Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been found civilly liable for rape. He is under indictment in federal and state prosecutions, and yet their allegiance to him in large numbers seems to be out of whack with morals or their faith or what they would stand for. You can have this group. It doesn't violate the 501c3 laws as long as they don't endorse a candidate. Yes. They are a group, and they can certainly have their take. But it'll be interesting to see whether this group hangs with Donald Trump as he goes through these legal machinations.
That is a big question, Scott. You're absolutely right.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.